Hi, everybody. My name is Charli Penn. I am the Relationships and Wellness Director here at Essence. I'm so excited because today is our very first wellness check. I get it, right? We have been talking to our girlfriends, our family, our colleagues about health and wellness more than ever. And we've been coming to you talking about mental health, physical health, fitness, and we're all just on this incredible journey together where we want to learn more, talk about it more, and dive deeper. So every week, starting today, we will have a weekly wellness check where you can view it live on Facebook and Twitter with Essence editors rotating to talk to different experts in all facets of the field. So health, mental health, physical health, fitness, and any and everything you want to talk about. So to start, be sure to hop in the comments, say hello, and let us know what topics you'd like to see in the future. Now, for today's premiere episode, which I'm so excited about, we have a very special guest. And I'm going to kick it off by saying, I don't know how many of you are guilty of this, but whenever I have cramps or a headache or anything, I immediately just grab my go-to painkiller, right? I'm so guilty of that. And I often don't think about natural healing and natural healing solutions. And I know a lot of us now more than ever are like, how can I heal and take care of my body holistically and naturally using herbal remedies and other alternatives? So today I have a very, very special guest, the late Dr. Sebi's daughter, the wonderful natural healing expert, Miss Kellie Bowman. Hey, Kellie, welcome.
Hey, how are
I'm
you?
wonderful, sister. How are you?
Charli, it's so nice to be here. I'm doing
You
well.
are just, we are
I'm doing
matching
very
in our power colors. Your energy and your vibe is already incredible, and you have so much insight to share. So, are you ready to just dive in?
I'm ready to go.
Awesome. So let's just start with natural healing, right? What is that? For those who may not really understand, what is it? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to your fans and followers and customers? And how does one even begin to dive into that world?
Charli, that is such a good question right now because all of us are dealing with different things at this time and adjustments with this COVID health we need to talk about. But when it comes to natural, we have to ask ourselves a couple of questions. What is it that we're doing to ourselves that would cause our bodies to go in a different direction when it comes to our health? We'll go to that pill, as you said.
Yeah.
What happened to those times in the past? And I'll go all the way back to the 1930s. What did they do? What is natural healing? It's where you go to the Mother Earth and you find your way of living because you are made natural. We
Mm-hmm.
can put on everything over our natural selves, makeup, hair, clothes, beautiful dresses, but the base of us is natural. And so to tie back into that natural part of us is where we belong because that's what we are about. That is our truth. So our truth is our natural cells. When you were born with healthy natural cells from your mother. Well, guess what? She got them from Mother Earth. And you know how she got them? By the food that they told her to eat. So here we are today. We're going to talk about how we're going to tie into that natural part of us. So you walk by it every day. You enjoy the flowers, you enjoy the air, you enjoy the water. We're going to talk about how natural life is just for you and how you can lean in.
I love that. And so, okay, for someone like me who's like, okay, enough of this like addiction to just popping any painkiller in my medicine cabinet to solve any and everything, right? Like a one shoe fits all type of program when we were moving and on the go. But now that I'm slowing down, right, we have more time at home, more time in
Yes.
our kitchens, our
Yes.
gardens, right? Hello,
Mhm.
Zen gardens. I've seen them all over Instagram. Where do we start? Like, what should we be growing and stocking up on to really begin a more natural healing approach at home?
Well, the family here at Sebi's Daughters, our experience here at Sebi's Daughters is one of a love of nature. So the first thing we got to look at is who we really are. So, Charli, if I really wanted to get to know you, I would open your refrigerator. I would
Ooh.
look in your cabinets. It's nice to hear what you say, but I want to know how you're fueling yourself. So the first thing we got to ask ourselves is what are we considering food sources? So we really have to look at what's in our cabinets. How can we make a strategy to move into that natural realm? We have to educate ourselves. So here
Okay.
at Sadie's Daughters, that's what it's about because education is truth. Because the truth doesn't need any uh, definition of any other kind, except for it is the truth, and we have to deal with that. Now, we can cover it with mayonnaise. We can make that feeling go away with some other processed foods. But the honest truth is, when we get down to it, what makes us benefit? What makes this body move? So I want to talk about the foods that are in the cabinets today. Now, we love to eat. We love to feel good.
Guilty.
But if you were mentioning something that was so important. When you get bloated, when you have a headache, when you have all of those discomforts, you have to ask yourself, how did they get there? Well, we don't always need a gun to kill ourselves. It's that hand to mouth. So what we're eating is important. You know, when I was a young girl and I would ask my father, Dr. Sebi, you know, about the same things, you know, I like eating other ways. He goes, well, you'll be you're who you're going to be in life, but how you fuel yourself is what's going to take you into a really beneficial lifestyle, or it's going to keep you in a hospital. And today we can't afford, Charli, to be in those hospitals. So I say, let's all lean in.
Yes.
Let's get into that gut health, talk about that COVID health that we need to tie into. So if I really want to get to know a person, or you really want to get to know yourself, look at what you're feeding yourself.
Mm-hmm. And where do we start with that? I know no processed food, but what do we, like, I don't even, you know, is it fruits and vegetables or beyond?
So here's some celebrities of the garden. You want to tie into things like your green vegetables. You have kale, which is extremely beautiful, but some of the celebrities in grains are your kamut, your quinoa, your amaranth. You want to tie into vegetables that have the highest nutritional value. And so I came up with a grocery list on my list. My father, Dr. Sebi, had a beautiful list. But now we're in the time that's really interesting, that we have GMO and organic.
Mm-hmm.
You ever ask yourself, Charli, where did that come from? Well, back in your grandmother's day, they only had one thing, and that was fruits and vegetables from the ground that they grew. Yep. So now we have to ask ourselves, what is considered food? So we need to look at the highest nutritional value of food, and it can't be a hybrid. So we have to throw out that thought about GMOs, because they have the least amount of nutritional value for you. So that's where we want to start. We want to look at what we're doing in our grocery stores and look at what gives us the highest nutritional value. And you will find it in vegetables and fruits, and you will find it in your celebrity grains of old.
And what about frequency? Because I feel like, and I know I can also, again, be guilty of this. And I love that we're having these relatable conversations, because I know I'm not alone. I'll be like, yeah, you know, I eat my fruit, I eat my vegetables, I dibble and dabble. But like you said, I'm not necessarily focusing on the celebrities of the garden, which I love, right? But also the frequency of it. You know, like it may be a little here for dinner, a little here for dinner, but it definitely, frequency matters, right?
Well, it does, but also changing your mind over on what you think food is. Like you say, you have a little here and there, and most people do. But this is the key here. Here's something we weren't told. The food that you consider on a daily has no nutritional value, and that's why we're all sick. So these higher levels of nutrition should be your principal. So these particular vegetables, these fruits, these grains are your principal. These hormonal processed foods is your poison. You know, my father talked a lot about the mucusless diet. And how do you get that mucus? Because that's where disease comes from. Mm-hmm. How do you get it? Well, it's because of the food sources that you use. It is not considered food for the body. It's considered food for you. You like it. It tastes good. Yeah. A lot of you have, I call it food booze. There's some like chicken. A lot of people love chicken. That is their food boo. But
we are in a long-term relationship with chicken. That's for life.
I'm not gonna talk about it too much. But as you eat hormonal foods, how does that come out in your daily walk? Because I had to ask myself, if I'm going to come out here, and I love looking good, and so do you. You're so beautiful, Charli. I love looking good, and I love having something positive to say. But if my food is unrighteous, if my food's unholy, how can I have a righteous, true thought? So we have to look at what we're doing in our life and how we're tying into that natural part of us. So where we consider we do a little vegetable here, that is our principle. So we went a little further. You know, Dr. Sebi was he did such great work for his own family, but for the world. And he says there are other ways to pack those minerals in. And so one of the things we tie into is something he named CMOS. So there are so many other ways to get the minerals you require on a daily basis. However, when you do go to your local grocery stores, because there's a lot of us, think about it. A lot of us don't have access to a lot of organic foods, and we don't have a lot of things in our neighborhoods. No, we don't. So what do? We have community gardens, and I'm a part of one here, not too far in Atlanta. I love being a part of it. You mentioned it. Tying into that right now is wonderful. So for you women who love gardens, this is the time to plant your mustard greens.
Thank you for that tip, because like I mentioned in the intro, it's been wonderful to see all these Black women like, okay, I'm home. I'm going to
Yes.
start a garden, and we need to know what
Yes.
to put in it to heal our bodies. So please do tell.
Yes, please tie into your cherry tomatoes. And we're coming at the end of the season for that, but your mustard greens right now, ladies, is a perfect time. A lot of people don't have a lot of space, so they do pots and they work just fine. Just make sure that your soil is good if you do that. And if you're not one to do that, find your local gardens. You know, my young daughter at 14 taught me how to use the Google to find things. And you can find local community gardens all over the place, and they exist just for you. So if you're not one to grow them, find your gardens. Find those people who are interested just like you are for better health, because most of us sit around with bloatedness. We have inflammation. We have so many problems, but we haven't tied into the solution. We would like to think that if we take one pill, it'll get rid of it. But
Yep,
Charli, that's dietary insanity.
it
If
is.
you think you will take one pill and it's going to get rid of all that's going on in your body. I say let's tie into a better way of eating. We have time in this COVID health to get into some good ways of fortifying our bodies and having strategies in our cabinets, increasing our water. We don't have to worry about going to work and we can't get the food we need. We can't get this, we can't get that. It's right there in your home, and you can start making changes today. Very simple.
And what better time than now, right? I mean, we all have a
Yes.
lot more time than we're used to having to be at home and, like you say, to focus on our cabinets, to focus on our gardens. And then speaking of our cabinets, we have a question here from Cassandra Bowman Kelly, who says, can we talk about what vitamins we should take in addition to food? That's a good one, because people are thinking a lot more about vitamins right now in
Yes.
the COVID era.
One of the things that I like about knowing about health is that one of the problems about vitamins is that we have a lot of fillers. So if you decide to go for vitamins, make sure that where you get your vitamins from is a helpful source and that there's not a lot of fillers. So guess where I'm going to go again, right to your vegetables and fruits and your grains.
Yeah, yeah, right to the
you
source.
actually you actually would never require a supplement if you are getting it in your food source. That's my point of today, is tying into those very vegetables and fruits with a higher level of nutrition. We have all had fruits and vegetables, not thinking that, we think we're getting enough, and we have a pyramid that they've put out for dietary reasons, but did it give us enough to get through cleansing, nourishing, and rebuilding? Well, I want you to check out some of those, like I mentioned earlier, those mustard greens, those cherry tomatoes, romaine lettuce. I love mushrooms, bell peppers, green beans are great, but quinoa, nowadays, when I was little, they didn't have that, Charli. We didn't have
Mm-mm,
super bowls or those
not at
flour
all.
bowls, but now you can find them in your neighborhoods where people have invented these ways of getting these grains in. But you want to tie into the best source that you can, organic if possible, local gardens if possible, your own garden. So how do I answer that in full? Where do you get your vitamins? From your sources of vegetable, fruits, and minerals. These are given to you in ways nowadays that are easy to come by. CMOS is the biggest. If you really want to get into your A's, your D's, your E's, you want to tie into something that's a total mineralizer. Your water is very important to your journey. So your spring waters, your alkaline waters, you need them to be fortified. These are important to get your minerals and to get your vitamins that's required on a daily. So you want to get those kind of sources that are pure. I love spring water. I'm a big fan of spring
Me
water,
too.
and yeah, but if I had to give a name of where I would get it in a bottle, I love that, that my father left us with so much to do, and I appreciate it. I appreciate this journey of his legacy, and I just want to say that finding those sources are important. And the better we do in our local communities, what we eat, what we see, and trust me, SebisDaughters.com has done the work for you. So you can go on there and find the list of fruits and vegetables with that higher nutrition so that you can get those vitamins you need on a daily.
Thank you so much. And thank you for listing a resource where we can get it because we want to help people as much as possible. Kelly, we have another question. This one is from May. May is asking about fasting and how that can be helpful in a natural healing journey.
It's always been helpful. Thank you for that very good question. Some of my best times and my father's best times have been when you pull away from food and you direct yourself to water, and we take the herbs that we have and just let your body rest. You think about it. You guys ever had the flu and your body backs up from food and you wonder, okay, I'm not hungry, I'm not feeling hungry. You wonder how the body gets its minerals. It's what's
Yeah.
stored in your body that it counts on. And it doesn't require you to eat anything else. It relies on what you have stored. So when you think of that, you kind of think of, well, if it's stored in my body and my body heals itself, before I fast, I better be fortifying with things that are natural. So fasting for me, I do it on a daily. Sometimes I'll take 1 week at a time, and there are different variants of fasting. You can have the fast with just liquids. You can have a
Mhm.
fast away from different parts of your diet. But I really like the juice or the water fast because we always need water. But it takes the
Always.
weight off of the gut. And right now, gut health is important, ladies and gentlemen. Please understand. Vitally important to your health right now for your immune system to build. You really want to have good health. So, that gut health is very important. So, fasting is a beautiful way uh, to give the body the time to rest and to recharge and rebuild. If you're new to fasting, then I would say try having a breakfast that's liquid and your water. Have a lunch that is liquid and maybe a sensible dinner like a salad. Start there, and stair step your way to maybe just having water all day. Dietitians will agree that a little taking away food, intermittent fasting recharges the body. So it's a beautiful thing. But if you haven't done it before, just take your steps to it so that you can be controlled and you go through it comfortably.
I love, Kelly, that you emphasize the steps, right? And taking it slow, because I think a lot of times when you hear that people consider diving into alternative healing and things like that, they do
Yeah.
just that. They just jump right in, throw away all the old, bring in all the new, and get a little stuck there. So talk about long term, including these in your diet and your lifestyle, a long-term solution, because none of these are quick fixes that we want to do just this moment. We want to live better and be more well.
Yeah, I have a lot of clients that call Charli who've eaten a Southern diet all their lives, and they look at me and go, "How do you expect me to just eat what you're talking about?" It does take transition.
Yeah.
So we all have to start somewhere. No one's perfect. It is vital. I'll always say vital that we tune into what we need for our body's health. Not what we like to eat, but for our body's health. This is what's long-term benefit for us. So where do we start? Again, we look in our cabinets and our refrigerator, and we know the food that's in there that we shouldn't have, but this is the goal. So if I take away one thing that I eat, what can I replace it with that's a good turnover or a good a leveling so that I enjoy this journey? So I always tell people, start off with the principle in your diet being the salad and the vegetables and the fruit. Some of us can't have fruit due to different, or some vegetables due to different disease processes. So tie into what you can, but start a journey because we are the sum of our experiences. Eating this way is not for the faint of heart right away. You got to start at a little bit a day. even if it's just drinking water every day. Starting with that salad, go into some vegetable soups. There's a lot in your diet that's vegetarian that you don't even realize, but tying into things that very important to your better health. And that's what's important, is tying into your better health. So I would say start small. Start very small, but getting rid of those things. And if I just had to be blunt, you want to get rid of things that lower the immune system. And some of the top things are alcohol,
Mhm.
caffeine, sugars, and processed foods. So if I had to just come up with a list, that would be the list I would say to start looking at it. Again, find a strategy, get a journal. And I talk to my clients all the time about that. Journal how you're doing, but none of us are perfect.
It's a journey, and that we have to take the necessary steps to start, but we're all in this together. I know
Yes.
for a lot of people in this new world, as we say, they've been cooking more, right? Whether it's that they don't trust fast food or they just want to save money or they've just been at home. And what I love about that is it's giving us more control in our kitchen. So can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about how important it is to know exactly what's in what you're eating?
It is so important to know what you're eating, because if you're gonna fuel yourself, you want to make sure that there's some benefit there.
Yeah.
Again, how you feel is important. A lot of us have problems with um, one of my mental health, and we have problems with feeling insecure. We have problems with having too much anxiety, but we don't realize it's what's in our kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's we don't realize that it's what we've been eating. And a lot of that fast food, because we have places to go, a lot of us have to work, so we try to find the best things, but it may not always end up being perfect. So we go and quickly get some fries than to sit and try to make a or chop a salad. But again,
Right.
a lot of these fast foods have better options now. I say I like that, but in the kitchen, I say start small. Get a list of vegetables and fruits you like. Look at the list that I have on there. Look up some of these vegetables and fruits and look at what they do for the body, and then form your way of eating. On my site, I have a way of I have some recipes on there so you can learn how to cook it really simply. A lot of my clients ask me, how do you cook these things? So I've done a lot of work. It's on my Instagram. I love that we all tie in, because there's a big community, and YouTube has a lot of fortified information on how to eat well. And they have it step by step, and it's very simple. You can get a whole garden of food and make 7 meals and not even know you could, just by taking that few minutes. But I love YouTube for the vegan chefs and the alkaline chefs who are out there. On my side, I have someone wonderful in my family who's cooking off of the food list we have. So we have a step-by-step process so that we can all eat well, no matter where you live. And this information is free, because you know what? It's important that we understand how to eat in our communities, because
It
you will
is.
be teaching somebody else. The goal is for us as mothers, as daughters, to tie into a way of eating so we can feed our families love, because that's what I consider love. My father taught me about food, and that was love. And
Yeah.
it's going to take me my whole life. And because of him, I'm talking to you, and
Yeah.
I'm talking to everybody watching. So I appreciate him teaching me about how to eat so I can share with you.
And I love that we're sharing, right? And that once we learn, we can pass it on. And I think right now there's so many, I'm glad you brought up stress, right? And anxiety, because I think most people are more stressed out than they've ever been, right? We all
Yeah.
know that. So let's talk a little bit about different things that we're dealing with as women and men every day that we can begin a more natural healing approach to. Like, for example, anxiety, stress, migraines, headaches. People are homeschooling their kids, working from home, spending more time with partners, and there can be more anxiety than usual. So where do we start?
Yeah, that's beautiful, because you know what? Being in the house with your family members teaches you something different, don't it?
It
You
sure
see
does.
more of that. Yeah, it teaches you something about them that you may not have seen before. But now, like you said, we have control of our diet. We don't have the access to that. So how we're tying into what we're eating, and what we've eaten before can cause anxiety.
Yeah.
Some of the things we eat, like I said, heavy caffeine, heavy sugars. And a lot of us are on that vacation COVID, where we've just had this diet. We can finally sit down with those chips and that ice cream. And
Uh-huh.
hey, look, I'm not knocking anybody who loves a good time with their food, but I want you to come out on the other end feeling better. So how can we tie into that, being with each other? We can make it a community within our home to learn these things. You can give the younger ones some kind of activity to look up the vegetables that they like and talk about it. Have family time. Sit with yourselves and think about, how can I have a strategy from here on out? How can we together think about that? Because when we think about those headaches and the stress, because if we look at the news today, it is full of a lot of passion. It is full of a lot of challenges. COVID has been bittersweet for all of us, and I really believe that. And so one of the things that's important for me to do is to sit with my family, and I do it over tea, and we just sit and talk about what's important, because I know some of the foods that cause this stress, so I want to back up from that. I want to start something new, maybe once a day, or take out something to see how I feel without having it, because I know sugar will cause an upswing, but it also causes a downward dive.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you want to look at the foods you're eating and think about it. We all know that we can't get by on burgers. We all know that we can't get by like that. So how do we get that health to stop that inflammation? I love cucumber water. I take every
Mm.
day. I love cucumbers. That's a natural anti-inflammatory. And what you do is you put it in your water and you just drink it. There's no real trick here.
It's interesting to say cucumber, because I always heard lemon, like put some lemon and some warm water in the morning. Is that a
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, warm water altogether will, for your digestive system, allow your bowels to be to uptake that water and to move, which is beautiful. However, when you think about lemon, and some people may not understand what I'm saying, but then again, you would. If I cut the side of my lip and put lemon on it, what happens?
Burns.
It burns. Okay, so could you safely say that lemon's an acid?
Yes.
Okay, so if I wanted to alkaline my body, it would be with lime. If I continue to put lemon inside of my gut, it's going to shave away that good flora, because it's an acid. That's what acids do. So if I had to go, I would go with warm lime water, the key lime. I would start
Mm.
with that in the morning in order to alkaline my body, allow my bowels to do what they do. I know that's a lot.
But it's
But
true. I mean, we got to know.
I would allow my body to be alkalined in the morning, and that will give you more energy than coffee. A lot of people talk to me about getting off coffee, and that is the perfect way to start, Charli.
Because I am a coffee woman. Okay. I wake up and I'm like driven right to the coffee pot. You know, that's how I kind of start my day. And when you were talking
You
about
know why?
caffeine
A lot of
anxiety, I was
women do.
like,
A lot of women do. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry,
no
Charli. But
problem.
one of the things, I'm so glad that you're honest, because see, we at Sebi's Daughters work with you when you're honest. We need you to tie into how we can be your cheerleaders, and that's what this woman business is all about. You know, my father always talked about women being so important, and I honor that. Women coming to me, telling me what they need for their dinner tables, and fortifying themselves first. So when it comes to that coffee, can I tell you why you need that coffee every day?
Please.
Because you have been stripped of minerals in your daily allowances, and you feel like there is no oxygen in your blood. There's no energy. There is nothing to give you that energy in the morning, because I'm not sure what you fell asleep on, but having a lot of caffeine gives you that quick temporary, but it
Mm.
doesn't give that long-term benefit. That's why we got to tie into what we're eating. But coffee is amazing, isn't
It's
it?
so amazing.
but when we require it all the time, that means we have a lack of nutrition in our diet, which means we need to go back to the drawing board on what we eat. That's what it tells
You
me.
are so right, and I'm glad that you that we talked about the coffee moment, because in listening to my body during quarantine, I've been drinking less and less coffee and needing it less and less, because I've been resting more, right, drinking more water and slowing down. So I really want to end on that note. How can we begin to listen to, like you said, honesty is important here in this journey, right? In the first step. How can we begin to better listen to our body, and what should we look out for to know that we may need an alternative approach to what we've been doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, the truth needs no proof. When you get up in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror, you want to do better. You have that feeling of positivity. You want to tie into what's best about you because you want to win. Well, I'm here to tell you that it is important and imperative that you look at your diet today. It is important that you think about what you're putting in your mouth is what is going to come out in your behavior. So we want to take some tips from the Mother Earth. Look at the celebrities of the gardens. so that you can reestablish that creative part of you. Because COVID has been bittersweet, but if you are looking at this today, that means you are still winning and you still have a chance to think about what's important in your diets today. You know, what's important about Essence is that they have a love for women and they serve women. They serve women. Your goal is to serve women. And I am here to serve the community and letting you know more education. But start with a strategy and leaning into a healthier diet for a better life.
Kellie, that was a good word, a perfect ending note. Everything that you've given us today has been such a gift. We thank you. Please tell everyone if they want to reach out to you, where they can find more information, where they can find you, and how they can reach out.
You can go to sebisdaughters.com, or you can go to my Instagram, Sebi's Daughters LLC. You can write me an email, sebisdaughters@gmail.com. I really appreciate this time with you, Charli.
It was really special. And I hope that we help just even one person begin to think a little differently about how they can heal their bodies and take better care of their bodies. Remember, everyone, we will be returning every Wednesday at noon on Facebook and Twitter to have a wellness check with you. Make sure you're good, y'all, okay? So please leave your comments below. Tell us what you thought about today's show and what you'd like to hear more about. And feel free to leave some questions for Kellie as well, because I know she'll drive by there after this. So thank you, Kellie. Thank you, everyone, and stay safe.